focus on getting your weekly performance goals and also executing your daily vital actions. Yeah. All right. Very helpful. That's very good to hear. Okay. So later on, what I want you to do later on, so please get a screenshot of this. What I want you to do later on is actually to do your CAS. So what's a CAS? A CAS is an action plan, right? Ginagamit ito ng mga executives ng USANA to actually get their job done. In every department, at the executive level, silang lahat gumagamit ng CAS. Okay? So ano yung CAS? After hearing suggestions through your feed forward and also from your own reflection and from the learnings you got, so in the context of your weekly performance goals, write down, screenshot ka na lang para magawa mo later on because we don't have time. Write down what you need to keep doing. Ginagawa mo na siya and it's working. What do you need to accelerate doing na kailangan mong mas massive action pa ang gagawin mo in that area na yan so that makuha mo yung goal mo. And that what you need to start doing because you are not doing it yet. Tapos you learn from your feed forward session something that you have not been doing yet. Then start doing it. All right, this week. And then stop doing something that you may have been doing already, but that's also the reason why you are not getting your goals done. Perhaps it's not a vital goal, a vital task at all. So put that under stop doing. That's how you can manage your activities. So if it's part of stop doing, throw it away. If it's keep doing, it's already, you're used to it, so it's not going to get so much of your energy already. So after this, what I need you to do is that I want you after this, marami pa ako i-cover in this session, but what I want you to do after this session is that I want you to keep notes of your CAS every single week. Okay, listen everybody, because I will give you 2 weeks, all right? 2 weeks to actually get your performance goal na isi-state mo sa leader mo, all right? Your performance goal, nakukunin mo talaga siya in the next 2 weeks. So, hindi lang siya stated, but you will really commit to it in the next 2 weeks. You get that? So apply everything that you learn in your CAS, in your feed forward, and then still continue with your coaching with your leader. And in the next 2 weeks, I also suggest that you plan out your activities, leaders. Plan out your activities in such a way that it will focus on people getting their performance goals. So perhaps more health and freedom, more one-on-one health and freedom, and mga hakot na time, bridge events, and all of that. All right? Plan everything in the next 2 weeks to help as much as possible all the members and participants of High Performance Under Pressure that in the next 2 weeks, all right, it's like a dry run of how it is to perform at a higher level in the next 2 weeks. Okay? And magko-coaching kayo, magpapatuloy yung feed-forward sessions nyo together. Alright? So let's say, during the next 2 weeks, wag maghintay ng 1 week. Let's say every 3 days, you will do feed-forward session. People will tell, ito yung naging struggle ko, anong dapat gawin ko to get the feed-forward from others. And then you incorporate in your CAS, implement again before the cutoff. At the end of the cutoff, you do it again. So in other words, we won't have any session, general session by Sunday, all right? Because it's not learning time in the next 2 weeks. The learning will be on the job, not through the classroom. Are you committed to that? And I expect you guys to maximize your learning here so that in the next 2 weeks, you really are able to report with the help of your uplines and your leaders in their coaching and mentoring and also whatever mga OJT, put everything together and really report. So if I were you, if you're a participant, wag masyadong 50 na mga direct ang i-enroll ko. Work on like perhaps what is most, what is workable for you, but at the same time would really push you hard enough. So let's say you think that in the next 2 weeks, I will enroll 4 direct associates. Example lang, in the next 2 weeks. 4 associates na direct ko. Okay? So you work on those things. And then I will have a total of, if you notice, karamihan ito personal siya. And this does not exclude the team leaders as well. And then also, let's say in the next 2 weeks, your goal, aside from that, dahil kasama sa weekly performance goal mo, and then is your weekly commission. So get that in the next 2 weeks. And then at the same time, yung conversion rate mo na gusto ko na ganito yung rate ng mako-close kong sale. Alright? It's like you are on a run mode. Pa-practice natin 2 weeks, magra-run ka, wala kang ibang isipin, walang bagong mga training, focus on what you already have, and exercise and practice, apply everything you learned so far from the 2 sessions of High Performance Under Pressure and Leaders, everything you learned from the leadership workshops, leaders workshops, all right? So this is like sample run mode for you, and then we will get a lot of feedback because we will customize the other sessions of High Performance Under Pressure based on that, as well as I get feedback from your leaders. That's how it's being done here. So it's not like we have a curriculum and then everybody will just fit in without it being relevant to what you are already doing. This is so different, guys. This is very performance-based. It's like, I am your upline at this point in time. Parang ganon ang mangyayari dito. I'm your mentor and we want you to run with a system and we want you to run with all the frameworks and the tools that are necessary. Get that? So there you go. Now, whoever gets their goal, all right, your performance goal, okay, so posible kasing hindi mo nakuha performance goal mo this week. Basta at least in 2 weeks, may performance goal ka na nakuha mo talaga yung mga performance goals mo. Well, actually, and if you get it, then we will see. We will celebrate together, okay? And we will announce or whatever, recognize people who may have made some reach a milestones during the next 2 weeks. So already have that in mind to manage your time as well as your energy. Clear? So are we clear about this? Who's excited and who is also committed to make it happen? Right? Yes, right now. Write down yes if you're committed and you are also excited about this. Yeah, so leaders, this is a lot of work for you in the next 2 weeks. Design all your activities only based on vitals. All right? Activities based on vitals. When it's run mode, the activities have to be based on vitals. Okay? So I would also want to see you how you actually design your activities as well. Because there are seasons in the way you run your business in Usana. So meron tinatawag na performance zone. So in the next 2 weeks, we're all in performance zone. At meron ding tinatawag na growth zone where, the purpose is actually just to grow. Are we here? This time in the next 2 weeks, it's all performance zone. Okay. So there you go. Thank you so much for that, guys. Thank you so much for committing. Now, I'll give you practical tips on how to focus. Is that okay? Just to get your mind, just to get yourself in a mindset of really wanting to focus and developing the master skill of focus. So some tips to teach yourself to focus. Okay, number 1, understand your worth. Okay, so ask yourself, what does your time need to be worth in order to accomplish the goals you've set for yourself? So how do I do that? Okay, the way I do it is this. I'll usually start by asking, what's my income goal this year? What is my income goal this year? Okay, so ikaw nga, sige nga, sulat mo nga, magkano ang income goal mo this year? Magkano ang total goal mo this year, in other words? So let's say your income goal, total income goal mo this year would be, sabihin ilang milyon ang gusto natin?
5 million.
Sige, para mas ma-understand mo in pesos. So let's say your total income goal is actually 10 million. All right? Example lang, 10 million. You divide that by the number of working hours, which is 2,000 in a year average. So your per hour is actually worth how much? 5,000 per hour. Tama? Tama ba? Kung 10 million yung gusto mo, so per hour mo would be 5,000. The value, your value per hour is, your hourly rate is supposed to be 5,000. Kung 10 million lang ang gusto mo. If you come to realize, the 5,000 per hour, medyo mababa siya. Tama ba? Who feels na mababa? And sometimes when you start to think like, oh my gosh, 5,000 lang pala ako per hour if my goal is 10 million. And you realize, how much am I really worth? I'm not worth like 5,000 per hour. I'm more than 5,000 per hour. Do you get that? Only when you realize how much you're worth, that you would know what goals are you supposed to be chasing after. Do you get that? For example, may sumulat 500 per hour kasi 1 million siguro yung goal niya for at the end of the year. Papayag ka na 500 ka lang per hour? Would you? You wouldn't, right? So sometimes you realize you thought that you are already chasing a very big goal, but apparently not. So my point is that you don't have to jump right away to 10 million to 100 million. Do you get that? My point is that make it a pain motivation, because you don't deserve that money, that hourly rate at all, because you are more than that, for sure. Are we here? Make it your pain motivation that at this point in time, this is not the money, this is not the rate I deserve at this point in time in my life. Come on. All right? And start to push yourself. And when you start to think about that, every hour will be valuable for you. Now, on the reverse, guys. For example, with everything that I do, everything that I make, businesses and all, my goal, for example, for 2021 is actually close to about 90 million for 2021. All right? So if I were to divide that is, I already did. If I were to divide that, my per hour would actually be about 43,000 pesos per hour. Are we here? So 43,000 pesos per hour. Get that? Aba, di ko sasayangin yung oras ko.
Aba.
Nakuha niyo po ba? Would I spend like an hour on Facebook if I know that my worth is actually 43,000 pesos per hour? I wouldn't. Because that's money lost. Are we here? Would I dedicate myself on non-vital tasks that I know would not bring me to my goal of getting 90 million at the end of the year? No. I would definitely delegate that to somebody else. Right? And the only task or the only engagements that I would receive would definitely be engagements over 1 million, over like that will be equivalent to over 50,000 pesos of my hour. Get that? So that's how I like filter everything out, because I already know how much I'm worth based on what makes me happier. Are we here? So I don't want to lose, I don't want to spend so much time on something else, because it's like time is not gold. Time is like $1 million, $1,000 for me per hour. You know what I mean? So you cannot afford it. It's just too expensive. So how much is your hour? That's a question right now for you. And imagine it deducted from your account without any chance of recovering it back, because that's how time works. Tama? Di mo na siya kayang bawiin. Hindi mo mababawi, because that's the truth about time. When you lose it without redemption. That's also how I evaluate the engagements I agree to get myself into. If it's not worth the amount of my hourly rate, then I say no. I don't want to be busy with things that are not vital for me. And that's how you can be successful in your life. You don't say yes to everything, ladies and gentlemen. Are we here? So there. So you might be so dedicated with your work. Divide how much money you're getting from that and divide it with 2,000 hours. You know how much your work is treating you. Hello? Do you get this? You know how much your work is actually treating. Do you deserve it? You don't. But the only reason why you embrace it and you persist in it is because you are still in survival mode. The only way to be successful is this. You've got to begin with a mindset outside of survival. You've got to begin with a mindset of success, which is about creation, not survival. Are we here? You work to create wealth, not to survive, ladies and gentlemen. Because if you work just to survive, you will never be able to create wealth in your life. So focus on the vital task in your business in Usana. Don't just be busy because the activity doesn't mean whatever, too much activity doesn't necessarily mean productivity. If you're falling short of your income goals, it's simply because you waste so much time doing low value work. That's it. That's the only reason. You do online activities perhaps you don't actually need to do. You spend 10 minutes chit-chatting with other people. You take extra long time eating. You get a lot of me time for yourself. Why? You may say, because, I deserve it. I need to have a lot of me time after so much hard work. But yes, how much is the value of the hard work? Hard work on what? Just to get the amount of money that you don't deserve after all? Is it really worth spending the next hour for your Facebook or social media time? Don't you realize you are actually burning time every single hour? Another money is deducted from your potential income this week and they cannot be recovered anymore. Di ba masakit yung bank accounts mo na walang pumapasok pero laging withdrawals? So stop doing that with your time because that's how it is. Time is gold and time is life as well. Every activity you make is either costing you money or adding money to you. If you have no money right now, perhaps, and you have no money and tired, perhaps you are actually tired doing all the stuff that doesn't add value to you, at least financially. Get that? Second, prioritize. Prioritize the vital task of your business first. And the vital task of your business is actually what? Your performance goals. And on a daily basis, doing your carpe or whatever it is that you're following in terms of your vital daily task. If you don't know how to prioritize, you won't be able to move forward in your business. Let me explain that. Have you ever asked how possible it is for a lion tamer, for example, in a circus to tame a fierce lion? Di ba makita mo sa circus, kung di ka pa napunta ng circus, perhaps you've seen one in the TV, and you've noticed that in circus, the tamer is usually a person who commands the lion using a whip and a four-legged bar stool. Tama? Did you see that? He will always be standing on that four-legged bar stool, right? And then he would have a whip on his hand. And then the lion would actually see the four legs of the bar stool as separate, simultaneous threats because that's how the lion thinks. The lion never thinks that this is just one enemy. Are we here? The lion actually thinks in terms of the legs. And if the legs are only four, he would think that, if the legs are four, he would think that this can be a big threat to me. Are we here? So the lion actually thinks that the four legs of the bar stool in which the circus man actually stands on are all separate simultaneous threats against him. So in the face of the four threats, plus of course the whip na hawak-hawak ng circus man, the lion is supposed to be the king of the jungle, is overwhelmed. And his primitive brain is unable to decide. So ang nangyayari ngayon is that when the brain is stressed, the lion's brain is stressed, the primitive brain is stressed, either he would attack or he would freeze. And what actually happens to the lion is that he gets so overwhelmed because there are 5 different threats simultaneously, so the lion actually freezes. He submits to the overwhelming threat of that image of 4 legs and then the whip. And then the lion starts to freeze. Hello? That is called the lion syndrome. And I tell you, a lot of you are not able to work. A lot of you are not able to do your business well. It's simply because you're also overwhelmed. You are being caught with a lion's syndrome as well. And you are overwhelmed with so many activities. Hello? Do you get that? Because marami kang gustong gawin at planong gawin. And you are faced with hundreds of potential priorities. In any moment, you seem to have many choices in each moment. and each feels important. You don't know how to filter which ones are vital and which are not, and you get overwhelmed by them. And now you think you have a very big problem. You have a big enemy to face and conquer. And that is why you freeze. Lion syndrome. Everything seems so important to you. Kalaya lang, when you have too many priorities, like the lion, you become paralyzed and overwhelmed. So you try to redirect, and what you usually do, you freeze by what? Thinking that it will help ease the pressure if you just go to the spa first, or you even withdraw, di ka na lang mag-work, and you get paralyzed in the process. You are not paralyzed because you don't know what to do. You are paralyzed because you want to do so much all together. And imagine how much money you're losing with that. And that's because you actually don't need a break. You just need to prioritize. Yung iba, I'm so overwhelmed, di muna ako magpapakita. You actually don't need a break. You just need to teach your brain to prioritize so that you are not overwhelmed. Are we here? And that's exactly what highly successful people do. They can have a lot of activities, but they just know which ones in every project are vital. They just do them, and that's why they become successful. With other things, they delegate or they hire a staff. You get that? I do, because I don't want to be thinking about what music to play. I don't want to be thinking about other things. I want to think about, the most vital, for example, in the seminar is actually the content and the activities. That's all I need to think about. Are we here? And so when I just think about, I don't get overwhelmed. Why can I do PhDs altogether from a totally different subject? One from extremely science, and the other is extremely technology and business based. Why can I do that? Because I just know which ones are vital to focus on. Are we here? You want to be successful in your life? And if you're telling me I'm overwhelmed, di ko na kailangan to, those are just excuses. You are made for so much more. And you can never tell me you cannot do this part-time. Come on. Hello? You're just having lion syndrome because you don't, and you're paralyzed because you don't know how to evaluate which ones are vital. Everything seems so important to you. Are we here? You want your life to move forward? No exact. Choose one. Just choose the most vital one for you, for your future. Are we here? The problem is you keep so much. Like, you hoard so much. And that's why you're not able to move forward anymore. At some point in our lives, we actually need to be mature and choose which ones are vital so we can move forward and we don't freeze. Are we here? Hello? Diba, for example, pag ang dami-dami mong iniisip, wala ka lang gustong gawin, tama? Because you're anxious already, right? Well, the key is to throw away the ones that you can throw and only keep the ones that are necessary and vital. That is why from the very beginning, I kept reminding you to keep it narrow, right? Narrow down the process. Keep it simple. I help our leaders, I help your leaders just focus on 4 pillars, and then just let you guys just focus on your performance goals. Narrow down your priorities and activities. Having too many strategies won't work, friends. Sometimes we think, strategy 1, 2, 3, it doesn't work. And you realize, why is it that we came up with a lot of strategies, people apparently are not moving or working at all? Well, that's exactly the reason. It's the being overwhelmed by too much strategies. So narrow it down, okay? Have your coach keep you focused and continually improving, because you can have a tendency to want to do every single idea you have in your mind. And that keeps you paralyzed. That means you have too many priorities. If you think you don't have enough time, that means you don't have priorities that are clearly defined enough. You do have time. In fact, every time you feel overwhelmed, there's a good chance that the culprit is actually just lack of priorities, right? So find another source of inspiration. So sometimes you find another source of inspiration because you think that's the answer. Ano ba? Saan ko kukunin? No. And eventually, you actually get into a never-ending cycle of hunting for the next inspiration. Being overly inspired can also be a trap. Do you know that? Any new learning will give you a hype, and then you think you can make it because you are inspired, and then nothing happens. You work hard, right? But work a lot, but apparently you are working a lot on too many things. And then you realize you're not creating business results at all. Why? It's not inspiration that you need. It's prioritization that you need to master most. The master skill of super achievers. Not another new concept, not another new event, not another exciting speaker. You need a coach, your upline, that's your team leader or your supervisor who knows what's your goal, what vital tasks to focus on, and the help you need to improve. Network marketing is simple. Narrow the process, commit to vital tasks every day, stay in the loop with your coach, and keep improving until you get your desired results. It's very predictable, friends. Too much of new learning can create this equilibrium. That's why if you notice, I'm not giving you something new here at HPUP. I am narrowing down your thinking. And they think, for example, in Power Punch that I'm introducing new things. No, I'm narrowing down. I'm allowing you to throw away things that you need to throw so that you would have clarity. Because too much of learning can create this equilibrium, a state in which there is no sense of stability. And if you think it's not stable, you cannot repeat it. And if it's not repeatable, it's not scalable. If it's not scalable, your income will also not grow. Number 3, learn to decline or say no. I remember in the 2017 convention in the US, I learned a lesson from Darren Hardy on prioritization of high value work. He mentioned a story of them trying to hire Richard Branson, one of the guys I really admire because of, he's so cool. And they sent an invite offering him $100,000 for an hour to talk in an event, right? Immediately, they received the response from the office, and the office said, no, we're declining it. And they sent another letter asking for reconsideration. This time, they increased their offer to $250,000 for just 1 hour of talk. Kung ikaw yun, di ba? So, kukunin mo na kaagad. Ilang milyon na sa Pilipinas yun. And they were still declined. And then they sent another invitation, this time offering $500,000. And still the office of Richard Branson sent them back a negative response. And then sent back a check, and they said it's a blank check, and Richard can actually name his price for as long as he would say yes for 1 hour talk. And then finally, Richard Branson's office replied with an explanation. At etong sinulat doon. Sabi doon, something to this effect. No amount of money would matter right now because Richard has 3 strategic priorities he is focused on, and he will only allow us to allocate his calendar to something that significantly contributes to the accomplishment of one of those priorities. Apparently, speaking for a fee, no matter how much it is not one of them. There you go. Richard Branson had clear priorities, and it's exactly this that's making him very successful. Hello? Richard Branson knows his priorities. He communicated his priorities to his office, and his office protected him from everything else that might keep his focus away from those 3 priorities. That is why Richard Branson is a super achiever, because he knows how to narrow down his strategic priorities. How about Warren Buffett? This guy also has a different approach. Ito yung approach niya. He said, write down all your priorities, right? And then narrow it down to top 3. And then, number 3, throw the rest of the list away because there's no minor project list. Exactly why they are successful. They know what are the top or high value priorities. They focus on them, and then they say no to the rest because there's no minor project. You want to be successful? That's it. It's not all the time, all the time. It's a 1, 2, 3 at the same time. You get that? Not all the time, all the time. Are we here? I'm a personal witness of the same discipline of the executives of Fortune 500 companies. All right? And, a good author, I think, of Good to Great, his name is Jim Collins. All right? He said, and, he actually had when you read Good to Great, it's actually, a study on certain companies that went more than 100 years. All right? And this is what he wrote there, all right, about those executives. He said, and he learned from those executives that if you have more than 3 priorities, you don't have any priority at all. Hello. Ikaw, top 10 priorities mo. Kaya ka napaparalyze. Guys, 3 at a time. In neuroscience, 4 is maximum. Get that? 4 is maximum. Because it will already drain your brain's resources if you have more. Hello? How about you? How many do you have? Ang dami-dami mong listan. Akala mo mas marami, mas maganda. But no. Approach each day with the top 3. Just top 3. Each day, the top 3 prospects. Each day that you would want to catch and make appointment with. Start developing the master skill of super achievers. Are we here? Throwing away a list doesn't make the distractions go away, by the way, automatically. Kahit itatapon mo pa yan. You will still need to deal with them. But there's something super achievers have mastered. They say no after throwing away the list. If it's not part of the top priorities, if it's not vital, they say no. But that's also the only way for attention to steal for attention stealing activities or interruptions. Na di mo na siya makita because you already said no before it comes. This is a skill that separates common men from super achievers. Not everything or idea that's shiny is actually diamond. Not all the trainings out there that are cool and shiny would lead you to becoming diamonds. Are we here? Again, back to the vitals. Anong sabi ni Warren Buffett? He said, for every 100 opportunities that are brought to me, I say no, mas matindi ito, 99 times. In other words, he only keeps 1 at a time. And that answer made him the most successful investors, one of the most successful investors in our day. Tapos ikaw, halos lahat ng investment i-offer sa'yo, pinapatulan mo. Naku po. Lahat ng network marketing and opportunities offer sa'yo, papatulan mo kasi feeling mo, mas marami, mas okay. Halatang wala kang master skill of super achievers because super achievers are always focused. Steve Jobs, another billionaire, said, kaya lang wala na siya. Sabi niya, I am as proud of what we don't do and I am of what we do. As I am of what we do. Medyo mali yung pagka-type ko dyan. That's the secret of Apple's product lines and services. Kung titingnan mo, di ba? Di lahat ng nag-work sa iba, ginagawa ni Apple. Right? Because not everything that works in the context of others actually works for you. So examine what's working for you and do them. Have a coach to make you focus on them. You have it at high performance under pressure and help you improve your performance, your daily vital actions or tasks so that you get your weekly performance goal. That's all. Period. All right? So if you are not yet a director, go for directorship. And make sure that during the period of high performance under pressure, you go after 1 rank higher. You get that? 1 rank higher. Your top priority now, rank advance. Diba? So sino excited na maging director or 1 rank higher or ma-master yung level niya ngayon na minamaster? Write me. Come on. If you are excited and committed, and now you have more tools to how to actually become more successful in life, prioritization. You don't have to actually have so much. Are we here? So, number 4, of course, di pa tayo tapos. Number 4, measure your progress. That's why kailangan mo ng mga leaders dito. Just like a doctor measures your vital signs of health, heart rate, blood pressure, oxygen, etc. You also need to keep a close eye on the vital metrics for your business and your team. And remember this, if you don't measure up, go back to this. Don't complicate the process. Measure it. Based on what? Carpe can make you measure it. What else can make you measure it? Your weekly performance goals are very measurable. And know exactly where you stand based on those. Don't adjust them, but keep on doing them. Don't adjust your mastery focus and then keep on trying to get your performance goals. In the next 2 weeks, ladies and gentlemen, right? This is going to be our sample run. Measure and feedback are part of your job as coaches. So this for team leaders, so that you can keep the health of the business of your team members. Are we here? And your business as a whole. Coaching is critical. It's part of measuring and giving feedback. All right? It is critical as in life or death of their views on a business and of your views on a business. And you know how these metrics, what these metrics are. And so on a weekly basis, again, focus, right? Focus on your weekly performance goals and then your vital actions, your carpe every day. Don't complicate, because you are in the business of duplication, not complication. As a team leader, be the first recruiter, model it, and be at least one rank higher if you're more than director. If you're not yet director, be director. Also, as a team leader, be the best coach that you can ever be. Always do that. And for everyone, stay in the loop of attempting, even failing, getting feedback, improving, and then going back to improving your strategy and your actions again until you get there. You get your goals done and you are done with your mastery level before you move forward. All right? Are we here? Are you guys excited and committed? Very important. In any endeavor, patapos na ako, so easy to drift. Very easy na mawala ka on track. Having a coach to regularly track your habits will prevent that drift. Kasi minsan dahil sa, kumpiyansa mo sa sarili mo, we think that we don't fall off course. That's why, kailangan talaga, imagine kung walang mga, safe rails ang mga highways. Just imagine that. We don't fall off course, we drift off course without knowing it. Right? Konting drift eventually will change your direction in the long run. Slight drifts, mga postponements of habits, for example, can slowly derail you without you knowing at all. And to prevent these small drifts, as a leader or coach or team member, be accountable. As a team member, be accountable to your coach. All right? Stay in that loop. Keep improving your strategy. Keep doing consistent, massive, continually improving actions, vital actions. Get that? So stick to that. Lastly, number 5, improve your performance. Okay? Some people think that improving means reading a lot of books or attending a lot of seminars. Pwede naman. We're having a lot of books to read and seminars to attend doesn't mean that you are applying it. You don't succeed by learning alone. Remember that. You have to learn and then do and then improve. That's how you do it. Yes, knowledge, because knowledge is not power. It is potential. It's a myth to say that knowledge is power. It's potential for power, but it's not power by itself. It's not what you learn or what you know. It's what you do with what you know and learn. There is a significant difference between learning and improving. Our goal at HPUP is not just learning, but for you to improve. And the difference between learning and improving is the difference between taking action and producing measurable results. Because you can be so busy with other actions, if it's not vital, it's not going to produce results. For example, have you ever read a book or listened to an audiobook or attended a seminar and thought, I can achieve results in 90 days, right? But after 90 days, nothing happened. So we have the tendency to say, dahil walang laman yung librong yon. It's not, the audio didn't work. The seminar did not work. That's why I encourage you to really attend, not just the recording of our sessions, but attend each session, guys. All right? Because it's different when you're here. You don't get the feed forward from other teams. Are we here? But actually, we tend to blame the book or the seminar or the training if it doesn't work. But no, the material, it's not that the material didn't work. It's simply because you did not apply it to your vital work. Are we here? So one thing I noticed, people don't work on vital tasks. And oftentimes in network marketing, when they don't work on vital tasks and they're not getting results, they hide behind the seminars. Attend lang ng attend, excited, kunwari, and they like the hype of learning something new, but never getting to apply them because they get excited with another idea, another concept. It's like digging too many shallow holes. Parang kang nagdidig na ang dami-daming butas, dami-daming holes, and wonder why you still never get to strike the oil. The key to getting the oil is not to actually dig too many shallow holes. The key is focus and prioritization, which means that instead, once you dig a hole that has little oil in it, focus on it. Keep drilling. Go deeper. Mine that well for all it's got. Parang ganito lang yan. Stick with your goal. If you're making progress, dig deeper. Stay in the loop until you get the oil from it. In the end, the fundamentals of success are simple and easy. High priority goal, mastery level, right? Create general strategies, and then vital actions, and then accountability for focus and improvement, which is your coaching with your leader. It's getting yourself to stick to them. That is the difficult part. And that is why I'm telling you to be coached by your leaders. And leaders coach your people. Don't make it even more difficult by confusing yourself with too many opinions and conflicting ideas. So remember your goal, performance goals, right? Prioritize in the next 2 weeks. Make it happen. Be accountable to your coach so you can do them more often, massively, consistently, and you keep on improving. Lastly, all right, let me share this quote by Seknar Bor. Is an ancient philosopher, Seknar Bor. Probrances yan, baliktad lang. Productivity isn't magic, it's discipline. It's discipline that separates the superachievers from everyone else. It's discipline that delivers results and compound over time. After all, the key to winning is to be brilliant at the vitals, according to Vince Lombardi. So it's exactly past 12. I've enjoyed this session. I hope you learned. And remember, let's make it happen. 2 weeks, dry run, 2 weeks. Apply everything you learned, do everything in the system, use all the frameworks and all the tools, be coached by your leaders,